I must say that I'm humbled and grateful to have been invited to say a few words at this incredible gathering about my personal journey to Daf Yomi learning. First, I have to express my gratitude to Hadran and to Rabbanit Michelle Cohen-Farber for their contribution to my and all of our reaching this milestone. When Hadran was planning the Siyum Hashas in December 2019, Shoshana Baker reached out to me to help Hadran reach a larger audience of women in the US who might listen to the Siyum and begin learning the Daf. I listened to every word of that groundbreaking Siyum, featuring women speakers that inspired me, I think inspired all of us, and decided then and there to undertake my own study of the Daf Yomi. Like many women of my generation, though I was the beneficiary of a terrific Jewish education at Shulamit School, Yeshiva University High School for Girls, YU's Teachers Institute for Women, Machon Gold, Michlala Yerushalayim, I had been minimally exposed to Talmud study, and only as a source for learning various halachic topics, not as a continuous study of the Daf text on its own. My teachers and my rebbeim included some of the best, including Professor Nechama Leibovitz of blessed memory. And they inspired me to master the Hebrew language that I so strongly believe is the mafteach l'chol limudei hayadut, the key to all Jewish text study, to learn how we can analyze the approaches of different mefarshim, to study the commentaries on the Torah, to study halacha in depth, to become versed in texts like the Rambam's Mishnah Torah, the Shulchan Aruch, the Chafetz Chaim's Mishnah Berurah, and so much more. During the study of practical halacha, our teachers brought occasional sugyot of the Gemara as sources, but we never learned Talmud as a regular shiur with all the argumentative give and take, the shakla v'tarya of the Beit Midrash. When I was fortunate to have a sabbatical year in Israel, in the senior educators program at Hebrew University, I studied with Rabbanit Malka Bina's Talmud class at Matan, and I learned how much I lacked in the way of Talmud skills. After many years as a Judaic studies classroom teacher and high school assistant principal, I was invited to serve as principal of Mayanot Yeshiva High School for Girls in Teaneck, a school founded on the concept that Talmud is a subject to be studied by every single girl in the school. As a lifelong learner myself, that mission intrigued me, and I embraced the concept and the goal, even though my own substantial Jewish education missed that component. 6 years at the helm of Mayanot, which was founded with the Haskama and the support of its unique mission with Rav Aharon Lichtenstein Zatzal, and my knowledge that Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik Zatzal had endorsed and supported the initial introduction of the study of Gemara at Stern College, they all served to help me think it was not too late for me to begin the regular study of Talmud. But the journey still has some intervening stations. When the close to 3-hour daily commute to Teaneck from my home in the Five Towns became just too much, I was fortunate to be appointed principal at Shulamit School for Girls in Cedarhurst, Shulamit, the place where I had begun, a few minutes from my house. With the newfound time in my life, I was again most fortunate to be accepted to the Yoetzet Halacha learning program, training program sponsored by Nishmat, the Jeannie Schottenstein Center for Advanced Torah Study for Women, under the leadership of Rabbanit Chana Henkin, despite not having studied Talmud in depth during my life. I applied myself with determination and with commitment to the exceedingly demanding program of the course of 2 intense years and 3 summers. Baruch Hashem, shortly after I graduated and I was certified as a Yoetzet Halacha in 2015, I was looking for a new project. Rav Aaron Glatt, a member of the rabbinic staff at our shul, the Young Israel of Woodmere, was recruiting people to begin the new cycle of Mishnah Yomit, learning the 6 Sidarim of the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah over the course of about 6 years, learning 2 Mishnayot a day. Several of my grandsons had actually accomplished this, and I was inspired to follow them in their way. And I must say, I'm also grateful to both Rav Kahati for his incredible work on explaining the Mishnah in Ivrit, and to Art Scroll for the Mishnah elucidated in English. And I was able to complete the 6 sections of the Mishnah in about 5 years, and made a Siyum last January in honor of the yahrzeit of my parents, Aleichem Hashalom, after I had already begun the study of the Daf Yomi with Rabbanit Michelle, after the worldwide Siyum Hashas inspired so many of us women to undertake the Daf. The background from the study of the Mishnah, the support and encouragement of my husband, children, and extended family, the clarity and enthusiasm of Rabbanit Michelle's shiur, following along with her podcast in my Art Scroll Gemara, using other Sifrei Ezer, maps, and illustration have all helped, especially in the most challenging Masechtot we've learned thus far, like Eruvin and Yoma. And they've all contributed to the pleasure I have taken in this new chapter of my learning. As we all know, as students of the Talmud, it is not easy. It requires tremendous discipline. And because my personality is not the type that can deal well with falling behind, I need to be truly consistent. Other students have advised me that even when I don't always understand everything, it's important to keep going and plowing through, and that the second time around, it will certainly be easier. For me, the challenge is to try to follow the machlokot, the differences of opinion, and to try to predict before I read them how the various opinions in the disputes follow through on determining the answers to the next problem that the Gemara raises. In Chumash, the Mefarshim often have consistent approaches, but I am not familiar enough with the Tanaim and Amoraim to detect such consistencies. The joys are the sense of progress toward a shared goal and the enhancement of the observance of the holidays by the timely study of Psachim, Yoma, and Sukkah precisely in their seasons this year. The Agadot about the rabbis of the Talmud often make both the halachot and the personalities come alive. And it's always interesting to see how much math and science the rabbis understood so many years ago, even pi and constellations, etc. Another perk is the amazing camaraderie of our Long Island Hadran Women's WhatsApp group, and I'm sure other WhatsApp groups are the same, where we share our woes as well as our victories and support each other when coping with difficult sections and sugyot. We have managed to sometimes get together to celebrate Siyumei Masechtot in person, outdoors, even during Corona. One should not take leave of friends without a short word of Torah. I try to make brief notes on Post-its when an important idea appears, and the statement on Daf Bet of Beitzah suggesting that we might say, Kocha dehetera adif, a lenient approach to psak is preferable, brought me back to Rabbi Aharon Rakefet's class on response to literature in Michlala 1973. I'm sure before many of you were born. He taught us the introduction of Rav Moshe Feinstein to his Zigrot Moshe, the amazing collection of responses to halachic questions posed to the Rosh Yeshiva over the course of many decades. Rav Moshe wrote both about his trepidation, about the responsibility to deduce the halacha properly based on precedents and principles, and about his commitment to the concept that the power of permissibility, kocha dehetera, is preferred, adif, whenever that is possible. The koach of heter, leniency, is based on love, on understanding, and on compassion for the person asking the question, who wants to do sincere avodat Hashem, but may be in a challenging halachic situation. The Ramban in Shmot 20 discusses the difference between Zachor, the positive mitzvot of Shabbat, and shamor, the prohibitions of Shabbat. Positive commandments, the Ramban states, are observed from the midah of love, ahava, and negative commandments are driven by yirah, awe. The Rambam declares, ha'ahava gedolah min ha'yirah, love is greater than awe. I think we all agree that the commitment to Daf Yomi is an act of love. The love for Torah and for Talmidot that we see on a daily basis from Rabbanit Michelle, the love of learning of all of us women worldwide who care deeply for Hashem Yitbarach, for his Torah, and for his people, and for the continuity of Jewish history. May this love continue to motivate us to work together to enhance and glorify the study and observance of Torah, lahagdil Torah ulahadira. Thank you so much for sharing this adventure with me and for listening to my journey, and I'm sure thinking about your own.